What a fantastic night to get together, ladies and gentlemen, to learn more about angles and triangles from your Big Ideas book, Lesson 3.2, page 112. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to apply what we learned to find the missing angle measure of a triangle. Now, you might be fairly familiar with some of this already, but I guarantee you there's something new we're going to learn in these two videos. Ladies and gentlemen, our essential question: how can you describe the relationship among the angles of a triangle? And of course, you took some notes, so you probably have an idea what we're going to be talking about. So this should be pretty straightforward, especially for those of you who have done this before. But we want to make sure that we all have it down, because this is going to be critical stuff as we move forward this year. So, ladies and gentlemen, you took some notes. And I only asked you to take notes on the interior angles of a triangle from the top of page 112. I know it showed you the exterior ones, and you might have that down as well. But you will see that I'm going to be asking you to do that later on, because it's more important later on. And so we have the interior angles inside a triangle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a triangle is called a polygon. And that is because a polygon is an enclosed figure formed by straight sides. Okay, so you have to have straight sides to be a polygon, and it has to be enclosed. So a triangle is the smallest polygon that can exist. It only has 3 sides. You can't have one with 2 sides. It's impossible. And so the smallest polygon with 3 sides is called a triangle. And what do we want to get from this? We want to get that the sum of the interior angles is equal to 180 degrees. In other words, if I label these 3 interior angles, x, y, and z, then I would say x plus y plus z is equal to 180. And that is an equation that we now know how to solve, so we can find the missing measure of a triangle. So let's just do a couple of those examples and we'll be done with the first video. So using interior angle measures, we're going to find the value of x. And the first thing we know, that in a triangle the sum is 180. So we're going to add the angles. And I have an angle of x, I have an angle of 81, and I have an angle of 25. And we know that the angles added together have a sum of 180 degrees inside any triangle that exists. So now we have an equation, and of course we use those things that we learned in our unit on solving equations. We are going to simplify by combining like terms. They're on the same side. So 81 plus 25, that is 106. So x plus 106 is now equal to 180. And I am going to isolate that variable by subtracting. That is the inverse of adding. And I'm going to keep it balanced by subtracting from both sides. And I'm going to get that angle x is 74 degrees. 74 degrees for angle x. Now, if I look at it, it makes sense. It's reasonable, because when I look at that angle x, I can see that it's not quite a right angle. So I would know that it's less than 90 degrees. So that's probably fairly accurate. If I wanted to be sure, I would say 74 plus 81 plus 25. Does that equal 180 degrees? And the answer, of course, is yes. Moving right along, same thing, finding the value of x. So this is where it gets just a slight bit more complicated. You have to remember to put in each angle. And so we have an angle that's x, we have an angle that's 43 degrees, and we have an angle that is x minus 35 degrees. And we know that that all equals 180. So once again, combining like terms, we have a couple pair of like terms. We have 2 x's on this side, so 2x. We have 43 and negative 35, so that combined would be plus 8. Is equal to 180. Now when we subtract the 8 from both sides to isolate the variable and keep the equation balanced, 2x is now equal to 172 degrees. And then when I divide by 2 to further isolate and keep balanced, I would get x is 86 degrees. So x is 86 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. If I asked you for the measurement of all the angles, well, we know that this angle x up here would be 86 degrees. We have this angle that's already 43. To find the third angle, you would have to take 86 and subtract 35 to get that one. And 86 minus 35 would be what? That is 51 degrees. That is correct, 51 degrees. So those three would be the measurements of the angles, if that were the question. We just asked you to find x, and x is 86 degrees. And if I asked you for the measurement of all the angles, it's a very similar question. However, you would have to take the value of x and go further, as we just did. Moving right along to example number 3. Again, we're just finding the value of x, so that's all we're going to do. X plus, well, we have 42 degrees and we have 31 degrees as two of the given angles. And of course, this equals 180 degrees. Combining like terms, 42 and 31 is 73. So x plus 73 is equal to 180. Subtracting 73 from both sides to isolate and keep balance, x would be equal to what? That is absolutely correct. X is equal to 107 degrees. So that angle would be 107 degrees. Our last example of the night before our first quick write, finding the value of x once again in this triangle. And we have an angle of x. And then we have an angle of x plus 4. And then we have this other angle right here. It doesn't tell us what it is. How do we know what it is? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It has that box in the corner. And we know that box represents a 90-degree angle. So x plus 4 plus 90 is 180. Combining like terms, we have, again, two x's. And we have 4 plus 90, so that's 94 equals 180. And if you subtract the 94 from both sides, you would get that 2x is equal to 86. And then when you divide by 2, when you divide by 2, you would get x is equal to 43. Had a little brain fart there. Hey, it happens every once in a while, but we move right along. So x is 43 degrees. We know this one right here is 90. We know this one is 43. And then we can come up here and we can say 43 plus 4. That would be 47 degrees if we wanted to know the value of all the angles. Ladies and gentlemen, utilizing what we know about the interior angles of a triangle, and that the sum is always and forever 180 degrees. We are going to have a little activity in class that will show you and prove to you that that is the case. For right now, you do have a quick write to get done. Go ahead and draw that triangle, label the three interior angles, and then, of course, find the value of x. And I'm going to add to that, I want to know what is the measure of all angles. So I want you to do more than just find x. I want you to find x, and then I want to know what is the measure of all the angles inside that triangle. And when you're done, get a quick snack, take a little quick mental break before you come back and join us for our second video tonight.